Even after dozens of books, even after hundreds of hours on videos and podcasts talking about spirituality, philosophy, self improvement, self help, spiritual growth, all the rest of it, people still feel they haven't changed at all. Or even if not at all, people feel that they've changed a little bit, but they're not there yet. If this even remotely sounds like something you are going through right now, stay with me till the end of this video if you want real growth. Do you know that this is the exact predicament that the protagonist in this novel, Siddhartha, finds himself in over and over again throughout his life? This is, by the way, the most highly recommended spiritual book that I will recommend to you, Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse. If you haven't read this yet, you should firstly check out my video on this book where I gave out, I think, 4 or 5 different life lessons from it. You should check out that video, but you should also read this book for yourself. And I would recommend reading it multiple times. This will resonate with you at different junctures of your spiritual growth in a different manner altogether. So you must read it. For now, coming back to the story of the protagonist. The protagonist in this novel, Siddhartha, actually finds himself in this very predicament throughout his life. For example, initially when he's living with his parents, they're all devout Brahmins, and like any pious family, they would follow Hinduism and the different rituals and the different ablutions and the different sacrifices to the T. I mean, they were doing everything, and Siddhartha was doing all of those things. And eventually, to his almost dejection, he finds that he's not there yet. And in fact, he also realizes something which really pinches him. He realizes that even his gurus, even his teachers, even his parents for that matter, they're only getting better at performing the rituals. But the rituals are supposed to be a means to an end and not an end in themselves. And therefore, this really pinches him. And he lets go of all of it, goes away, and actually ends up joining the Shamanas. The Shamanas are people who live in the forest and they're very close to nature. They almost surrender their will to the will of the nature. And he is really becomes one of the best shamanas out there. He follows their rituals, follows their practices, learns their tricks of the trade, etc. And he's in fact better at a few of those things compared to the best, the oldest shamanas out there. But then eventually he realizes the same thing. He realizes that he's not there yet. And in fact, again, he was falling into the same trap of doing the same different rituals and practices over and over again and just getting better at them. But those practices also should have been a means to an end and not an end in themselves. And therefore, he goes away from it. And then he encounters the Buddha, Gautam Buddha. Now, by this time in his journey, he has already realized that I'm done with all the teachings, and therefore, I'm not going to fall into the cycle of getting more teachings, following those different practices, and for falling almost prey to this entire cycle again. And therefore, even if he meets the Buddha, he rejects him. And this is actually a very beautiful conversation in this novel where he actually tells the Buddha that, you know what, I've realized that these teachings, whatever you are saying, they're pure, beautiful words, but they are not what got you to this stage. Obvious, isn't it? The Buddha's teachings didn't enlighten the Buddha. And Siddhartha realizes it, and therefore he rejects even the Buddha. Even the Buddha. Now, it is at this moment where our character goes through a profound spiritual growth. It is at this moment that he realizes that everything that I've gone through so far, all the different spiritual teachings, all the different self help and self improvement teachings that different gurus and different teachers and different parents and different friends taught him all over the years have got him to this point, but he's not there yet. And now he's rejecting all the different teachings because he's realizing that the teachings are not going to get him there. But then what will get him there? And this is when he becomes a true man, a real man. Because you know what he realizes at this point? He realizes that what he needs to do, all he needs to do, is to follow his inner voice, is to follow the compass of his own heart. And this will lead him to the true growth that is destined for him. And that is what today's video is all about, self permission. If this is resonating with you, if this entire predicament, if this entire situation of having gone through different spiritual teachings, different self help and self improvement teachings and videos and podcasts, and still feeling that you're not there yet, still feeling that worse, feeling that you're not anywhere, you've not even improved at all, This is the key that you really need to incorporate to actually grow. Self permission. Permit yourself to listen to your own inner voice, your own clean inner voice that is operating out of love, not out of hatred, not out of being a victim of the environment, but out of love. A love that emerges out of understanding the design of what life is all about, what your own life is all about, that inner voice. In fact, those inner voices, because all of us have multiple inner voices, those inner voices that keep turning up whenever you're turning the pages of different books that you read, whenever you're meditating on your own, whenever you're thinking about what these people talked about in those different videos that you've consumed. Those inner voices are what you need to hear now, are what you need to give yourself permission to hear. Those inner voices which you keep suppressing because you feel those voices are not worthy enough to be listened to, but rather the voices that you need to listen to are the voices of Jiddu Krishnamurti or Alan Watts or Siddhartha Maharaj or Rupert Spira or Sam Harris or Hermann Hesse or those dozens other people that you feel are more worthy of telling you what to do rather than your own inner calling. All of these are beautiful people, by the way, beautiful souls who have upgraded the level of consciousness of so many different people around us. But I'm talking specifically to people who have listened to these people, who have consumed content from these people already, but now they know somewhere deep down in their heart that they're ready to follow their own way, they're ready to follow their own north star in the sky. But the only thing missing is they're not able to give themselves permission. And today's video is all about that. If you want to grow in your spiritual path, if you still want to see the spiritual growth that you are really destined for, self permission is the key. Permit yourself. In a nutshell, this is about following your own path. Now, this is a topic that I will be exploring a lot more in videos on the Unlearning Playground coming forward. This is a topic that is ringing true in the bottom of my heart right now. And therefore, I want to explore this to the best of my capabilities. And in fact, one more thing that is resonating very deeply with me right now is living a life by design, not by default. You know what this means? Living by design, not by default. Living by your own choices, owning up to your own choices, considering and understanding that even though everything in your life is not in your control, a lot of it is in your control. A lot of it can be in your control. And wherever it is, it cannot be in your control, you cannot do anything about it anyway. However, you can manage your reactions about them. But living your life by design would definitely mean upgrading your own level of consciousness, upgrading your own level of awareness, so that you can actually design a life that you want, that you want. Not those different books, not those different podcasters, not those different YouTubers who tell you that this is what self improvement should look like. There are generic answers, but the personal answers should lie in the bottom of your own person. Your personal answers to self improvement, which you think will take you towards the life that you want, lie at the bottom of your own heart. And that is what I want to explore. Living a life by purpose, living a life by design, not by default. So, even if you feel that all the different teachers that have come across in your life so far, you've chosen them, you may have chosen them, but now you have to choose yourself. Now you have to choose your own path. You have to discover your own true path. You have to discover your own true calling from your heart, from love, and then follow that. Now, that is something that I will be exploring going forward in the Unlearning Playground. And in fact, my good friend Rocco Jarman and I are putting together various different courses where we would want to teach how to do this, where we would want to explore this for ourselves and teach this to anyone who feels that this is the path that they can subscribe to. At the time of this recording, we are actually designing a course for coming up with better resolutions in a new year, because it's that time of the year where we are almost relaxing out of all the different becomings, all the different doings that we have done throughout the year. We are reflecting on our previous year. I hope you are. And we are also trying to come up with resolutions for the new year. Resolutions not just for the new year, but for the future that lies ahead. So, therefore, I think this is very topical. A lot of people should be interested in coming up with better resolutions that resonate with themselves, not with resolutions that turned up on their Instagram feed and therefore they felt that, yeah, this is something that I can do. You need to audit your beliefs. You need to audit the resolutions that you're actually subscribing to. And that is what we would want to be teaching in this course. If you're watching this in future, I hope that the course is already live. Even if it's not the new year right now, I think that is a course that you can any day pick up and just run with it, because the tools and the practices that we'll be talking about are generically applicable to live an entire life by design, not by default. That's it, you good people of the internet. I hope this video moved you enough to actually check out this book for yourself. If it did, you should check out this book via the Amazon affiliate link available down below in the description, because buying via that link helps support the Unlearning Playground in a big way. I hope it also moved you enough to actually check out the course for yourself. I hope that you're watching this when the course is already live. If it is, the link would be available down below in the description. If it's not live so far, you can actually subscribe to my newsletter so that I can shoot you an email directly as soon as the course goes live and as soon as the new courses that will be coming up go live too. I think that's about it. If you're not a subscriber of the channel, I hope the video moved you enough. If you're watching this right now, I hope the video moved you enough to actually hit that subscribe button. I also hope it moved you enough to also share this with your friends and family, to share this with your entire community, so that I can have a shot at upgrading their consciousness too. I know this is worth their time, I promise you. That's it, you good people of the internet. I'll see you in the new year. I'll see you in the course. I'll see you on the Unlearning Playground soon again. Until next time, peace out.